So a few weeks ago I showed you my old Madden 12 franchises, and I thought it only makes sense if I also then go over my Madden 16 one. So I only played one franchise this year on Madden 16, and it was with the Raiders. As you can see, we're in season 2019, so we've played 4 seasons. So let's take a look at how I did and what my team looks like. So as you can see, in this time, I've been to 2 AFC championships. One of them obviously was, we won 2 AFC championships, so we've been to 2 Super Bowls. One of them was unsuccessful. The other one, the most recent one, was successful. So we have won a Super Bowl with this team. So let's take a look at the team which I've built here, mostly free agents offensively and then drafts defensively. So obviously Derek Carr here from the start. Didn't improve too much actually, so he's there at 85 or 84. Latavius Murray didn't improve too much either, 87 or 84 unmodified. But then Brown here I picked up this year in the draft, the highest rated player in the entire draft, and I picked him up at 32nd overall. Then we move on to the receivers. We've got Amari Cooper, a wide receiver 1. Josh Gordon we picked up as a free agent after the first year. Obviously, in this scenario, he was reinstated. And then Michael Floyd as our number 3 guy. He scores a lot of touchdowns from that position. And then Austin, who I've picked up in free agency pretty much every year since he came into the league, which isn't that many years. And then Danny Amendola, he's been doing a job for us too. And obviously Reese here is holding it down at fullback and has been doing for a long time. Onto the line, a pretty good one too. King Dunlap at left tackle, Gabe Jackson left guard, Rodney Hudson center, Webb at right guard, so he stuck around for us, and then a drafted guy here. 88 overall, that's pretty good, and I didn't actually realize it was that decent at right tackle. And then our tight end, Nate Kitchens, a guy we drafted who is pretty much a beast. He's played very, very well for us last year in his first year. And we did have another tight end here who was alright. He wasn't that good. He had like a 74 overall, 2 years experience, and the Browns gave us a first round pick for him. A bunch of teams offered a load of stuff, second rounders, and then the Browns offered a first rounder, so of course I took that. I had a starting tight end anyway, so now next year I have 2 first round picks. Here's hoping that I actually end up playing another season on this before Madden 17 comes out. Onto the defense, which is pretty much very different. The front line's kind of the same. Alden Smith stuck around, 96 overall. We picked up Kawan Short. I really took a risk on him in free agency, paid him big money, but I think it's worth it. I mean, we did win a Super Bowl with him. Dan Williams is still around. He's now on a 1-year contract, pretty much phasing himself out of the game, and Khalil Mack's been a 99 pretty much the entire way. Onto the cornerbacks, where we have a guy I drafted in the first year in Brown, 85 overall, Jeremy Lane, who I signed as a free agent that same year, 82. Then we got Clay here, 75. I just recently drafted him in this last one, and Davis as well at 80 overall. A good draft this time. I don't usually get this lucky. I do, as opposed to Madden 12, like I said, I do it realistically now. No idea if they're going to be good. They make it kind of easier now with the scouting and stuff. But then Charles was another pickup this year. Cross was the year before that. Rosemond I picked up the year that Woodson retired, and he pretty much straight up replaced him. 89 overall now, so he's been getting much better. Kiko Alonso popped up as a free agent, and then there's another draft guy. Courtney Upshaw was another guy that popped up as a free agent, but then behind them, Fender this year a draft pick, 79 overall, and Shepard a draft pick from 2 years ago or so, 82 overall. So as in, I've got quite a lot of depth. Colbert again, another draft pick this year, 77. I could pretty much just give all these up for trade bait pretty much, and I'd have an entire decent linebacking crew right behind them. So let's take a look at Khalil Mack's stats here. 10.5 sacks, 7.5 sacks, 10.5, and most recently 13.5. Not bad at all for him, an interception in one of those years. Amari Cooper started off much better because he was pretty much our only, well, we had Crabtree at the time, but our only worthwhile receiver aside from Crabtree, who was happy to use him. So 1,500 yards in his first year, 16 touchdowns. But then we brought in Josh Gordon, and between the two of them, I was just throwing it to whoever was open. And most of the time, both of them were open. But then it's down to 1,000 yards, but he's never dropped below 1,000 yards at this point. So that's still pretty impressive. Lowest catch is 71, 889. Pretty good stats for him there, but I would say pretty realistic to be fair. I can't really say much against my own stats here. Alden Smith doesn't quite have the flashy stats of Khalil Mack, but he's probably the reason Khalil Mack can get all those sacks. So it's 4.472 for him. Not bad at all either. See, I miss the times where they used to tell you on Madden what teams they were at in which years, but I'm pretty sure we picked him up here 2016 season, so not great numbers the first year. I think that's because I had Cooper, Crabtree, and Gordon all at the same time. Gordon was playing third receiver at the time, but then he stepped up to 1,100 yards. A few less, but I think he was injured for a while as well, 895 yards there. Obviously, the last guy really worth looking at in terms of receivers is Michael Floyd. And then we'll move on to the defenders. I would say, I don't remember whether it was 16 or 17 we picked him up, but looking at these numbers, I'm pretty sure it was 17, because it drops off, but his touchdowns, although I didn't use him as much, 600 yards both seasons, 8 touchdowns and 7 touchdowns. Pretty much became my number one go-to guy in the red zone, because you've got the 2 outside guys covered by the better cornerbacks, and then he's just running right on whoever's covering him. Latavius Murray had not injury problems, well that year he did have injury problems, but a couple of issues playing every game. I'm not sure if he did play every game, but 1,300 yards, then below 1,000, pretty much because of injury. And then these last 2 years I really tried to give him the ball a lot more. There are obviously 15 touchdowns in 1 year and 19 for that one. And like I said, I try and keep realistic stats, but the transactions, basically the team got too good where these numbers, 19 touchdowns and 15 touchdowns, aren't realistic, as in that's me like having a pretty short play clock, everything like that, and I can still get all that done. At one point you just get, the team gets too good on Madden and you can't make it look realistic anymore. The numbers from Derek Carr though, I would say are pretty realistic, and not that good either. 3,800 yards here, 29 to 15, that isn't bad. 3,300, 23 to 27, which is bad. Then this year he got injured. Well, not this year, that year he got injured. And Sam Bradford actually ended up taking over for him, and that was obviously the game we made it to the Super Bowl. I'm pretty sure Sam Bradford was starting in that game, and we did lose. And then this year, not unrealistic numbers again. You could see this happening in a few years. 5,000 yards exactly, 40 touchdowns, but still 23 interceptions. But that is the year that we did win the Super Bowl. So on to some of these defenders like Evan Roseman, the guy that took over for Charles Woodson and did it pretty well. In terms of total tackles, first year not as good as these second years, 115 and 121. I usually always struggle to get good tackle numbers. In terms, like, it used to be you guys end up with end the season, if I can use my words, used to be guys end the season with like 60 tackles or something. So these numbers are really good, especially for a strong safety. Obviously some of the other guys then have significantly lower numbers, but another guy with decent numbers is Kiko Alonso. Once again, I'm not entirely sure when he joined us. It might be these 2 years, could have been the year before as well, although I don't think it is. I think he's been here 2 years and 124 tackles both times. A bunch of interceptions going back to his rookie year where he had 4 interceptions, back to that kind of standard, and a couple of sacks too. Nate Kitchens, of course, the stud at tight end in his rookie year, 91 receptions, 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns, which really isn't bad at all. But a lot of those yards are after the catch as well, and a long of 69. He's pretty quick, he's pretty strong, he's pretty much the whole package. Very lucky to have picked him up. I had to trade up, I believe, to actually get him. Pretty much gave away the rest of that draft, as in I made a couple more picks that year, but he was the number 1 target and we managed to get him. Jeremy Lane is another guy. I'm not entirely sure when we picked him up. Might be at this point. Might have been, no, it can't be that one because that was the first year, so probably was this one, 2016. 4-4-3, pretty good on the interceptions, not amazing, but he was always playing second string pretty much to some other guys. And I started this Raiders career actually before David Amerson was even upgraded, so he wasn't even on the team, so I had to struggle along with cornerbacks for a little while, so he was a big relief for us. Austin, never for me a superstar, never do that much with him, but 2 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, 4 touchdowns, isn't bad at all. A quick thing, if you go into the trade center here, we can take a look at all the draft picks I've managed to collect for next year, and we'll go, well, yeah, we want Eli Manning, let's say that, and we're going to give you draft picks for him. So we've got 2 first rounders, a projected first, but that's obviously after 1 game, so it means nothing, 2 second rounders, 3 third rounders, 5, 6 fourth rounders, 3, 4, 5, 4 fifth rounders, a bunch of 6th and 7th. So that was my franchise mode on Madden 16. Next year I do plan on Madden 17 to do a franchise mode here on the channel, and let's hope it turns out as realistic as this one did, because I think it worked out pretty well. You know, 2 years playing and then a 3rd and 4th year in the Super Bowl, taking 2 times to win it, I'd call that pretty realistic.